Hey everyone, what's up? I'm Lydia. Welcome to my channel. I'm here today to talk to you about how I made my newest and most favorite weapon, the Bandit SMG from my favorite game, Borderlands 2. Alright, this is the baby. Huh? It's long, right? It's pretty large. Let's give it a once over on that side. And then we'll switch it. Alright. This side ended up being my favorite side simply because of the term bandit. Anyone who has looked up prop guns for Borderlands, I'm sure you've seen this gun. It just really caught my eye because of the whole look. I really liked the variety of colors that it had. And I really fell in love with the black and white stripes over here. There was just something hazardous about the look of the stripes, and I just had to have it. First thing I did was I drew it out, and I have my reference photo right here. I did exaggerate some of the measurements for aesthetic reasons, but I did draw the whole pattern out on like a giant poster board paper. It was like this long. It was like 3 feet. It was like 36-inch poster board paper. I drew it all on paper with pencil. There was a lot of erasing and a lot of tears and sadness when I was drawing it out because some of the details were just so intricate and time consuming. After that, I cut it out. I cut it out and I started like from the outermost section. I didn't cut out this part. I just like did like this whole shell and I traced that onto the insulation foam. That's what the base is out of. Now you can hear it's actually really sturdy. There's just no way that this is going to just like snap in half. Like I swear to God, I could probably just like bang it against something, and this is, I mean, I might get a dent, but it looks like weathering at the point. It's not gonna just snap in half. When I cut the insulation foam board, a longer knife is gonna give you a cleaner cut. It's like the size of my palm. That'll get you through the night, baby. The short knives, they're not going to be long enough to go all the way through the foam, and the hilt part is going to rub into the foam, and it's going to make indentations that if you're looking for a clean line, you're going to be very upset. But anyway, so I put those two together. So the width of my gun, the thickness, is 2 inches. You can see, like right here, is 2 inches thick. Ooh. So then after that, it was time to cut out the patterns for the accents and the accessories. And I was doing all of that with EVA foam. It was my first time using it. So what I did was I cut the pattern from the paper of the gun that I drew, and I transferred that pattern onto the EVA foam, and I cut it with an X-Acto knife. Didn't give me a super clean edge. Not upset because that's what I had a Dremel for. So I used EVA foam for this top accent mark. The EVA foam is 1/2 inch thick, so this is 3, the like scope backing. This is 3 layers of EVA foam kind of just squashed together. This part is EVA foam. And this outer bridge, this like part of the gun, I forget like what it's called. The stock, yes, EVA foam, and this also EVA foam. I was able to get the smooth edges with the Dremel. I definitely would recommend goggles and breathing mask, because that shit, it's like fine dust, it flies everywhere. You don't want it to get in your eye or your lungs or anything like that. EVA foam will often come with a pattern on it, and I really did want to keep the pattern to add extra dimension to my SMG because the insulation foam itself is already smooth. And to create that 3D, 4D effect, I was really looking for something extra, and the little grid pattern and pockets are really perfect to bring out those details. And it does look way more industrial, as you can tell. I really love it. With the Dremel, I found that I sanded the edges and it was perfectly fine. A higher speed is going to give you a smoother edge, but be sure to watch out for sanding the smaller pieces, because honestly, if you don't have a good grip, they'll like just fly off your hand. And sometimes the like Dremel, it's so strong that it'll just kind of go if you're not careful, and you could like just sand down like more than you thought. That happened to me. That happened to me like a couple times. And in the end, I really liked the way it looked because it looked like I was weathering it. So I ended up just using the Dremel also to weather a bunch of parts. Like you can see here, like all these markings and stuff, it really just ate into the foam and it looks fantastic. I was going for dings, nicks, claw marks. It really had a little bit of everything, and I was really grateful. It looks amazing. The trigger and the box surrounding trigger with EVA foam too. Now, what I really liked about the EVA foam is that it glued so well that I could actually just pull the trigger. I didn't bother to use like a gun toy part. I just kind of did everything on my own. For some of the details, like there is a barrel in here. You see this round thing? This was actually a hot glue stick, a very large hot glue stick that ended up being exactly what I needed. The stock as well as the barrel up front are PVC piping. And I bought them from Lowe's. They're super cheap too. I literally have like the whole thing over here. I can make like a Gatling gun or something out of the amount of PVC I have. I use the Dremel to cut the PVC and size it for the back of the gun and the front. I did sharpen the edge of the PVC pipe and bore a little bit of an outline into the EVA foam so that when I took my Dremel, I just used that line as a guide to drill out some of the foam so that my pipe could just fit in there really snug. The scope is made out of plumbing accessories and piping that you can also find at Lowe's. I swear to God, the whole thing was built at Lowe's. If I could find EVA foam, I would never leave Lowe's. Like, I could just get everything I need right there. The detailing, the like small lines and shit like that. Like, let's just start with this, with these lines. This is all actually craft foam. So I hot glued these just like that, and I went under this barrel because this was glued over top of it, and all the way down. The screws that stick out like this. Oh shit! I keep doing that. I'm so sorry. The screws that stick out like this is just carved EVA foam, and then for the corkscrew look, I just did like a 1/4 of an inch thick line, and of craft foam, and I just wrapped it around like so. I also used the craft foam as a binding agent. I took the craft foam, I whipped it over this to help secure it to the top. And I did a lot of finishing details with craft foam on the inside of my gun, like all this is craft foam. The bottom of the inside of this, craft foam. I'm not sure you can tell. Nope, you can't tell. This bottom, craft foam. All these little details that look like alien buttons and stuff like this, also craft foam. I mean, craft foam can really go a long way when it comes to detailing. And this accent, like right here, this almost like flame or zigzag thing, also craft foam. Love it, love it. I hid a lot of stuff also with craft foam. This here, like the attachment, craft foam. this part of the stock. This was actually really cool. Underneath is insulation foam base. It's an insulation foam base, and then it has EVA foam on top of it. And then to cover it up and make that beautiful triangle spot, I did accent that with, I don't know what, craft foam. Craft foam, for sure. I've got like washers, screws, bolts, and I even have hinges for like cabinets and shelves. The hinges I think were a really nice touch. It just looks super industrial. So I put it up here. And I also put them on here on the scope so it looks like a mount. It kind of looks like I can just whip this off and change it, and I really liked that addition. Some of the screws like that you see, like right here, actually all of the actual screw heads like that you see, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, all of them, they're actually embedded into the gun. I put my X-Acto knife, I made like an X, and then it gave me enough leeway to stick the screws in there. So I kept the holes and the screws as small as possible. Like I tried to cut so much so that the screw would kind of just fit in there. I didn't want to have to force or push it in there very much because it could compromise the integrity of the insulation foam. Screw details for sure. Right here. The thing that brings this gun to life, obviously, is the paint job. I did do the main body in red. Now, I did enhance some of the colors, and I really like that because it did end up looking tunerific, which is what it should have looked like. I did try the flat red first, but I really didn't like how flat it looked. Like it was just plain red. It really didn't have any depth, it didn't have any excitement, and it looked like a fake toy to me. So in the end, I did mix a little orange in there, and I started doing the orange towards the like center. I wanted it to have a gradient of color. So I did the paint job at least 4 times, like also because I wanted it to have a thick, opaque layer of paint. I didn't want anyone to see through it. Like, that takes layers of paint. And I did prime this. I did prime it. I think I had Krylon primer. I primed it the day before I painted it anyway. No, actually, I put Plasti Dip on it. I put Plasti Dip. It was like Plasti Dip primer. I don't think I did right. Like, Plasti Dip is primer. So I covered the whole gun in Plasti Dip, and I did expect the paint to be able to cover it fully, like the first layer. I was wrong about that, so wrong. It took like 3 or 4 coats. I added some orange for depth. I wanted the gun to kind of like radiate light from the inside, if that makes sense. And I wasn't sure what color to do for this top part. So I actually did a mesh of colors. I did a little bit of blues, a little bit of greens. I mixed them together. I put some yellow in there, and I really liked the gradient of color. I mean, it just looks fantastic in my opinion. I fucking love it, and I won't hesitate to do it again. I did accent some of the lines too with highlights of silver. And I also put silver over the weathering marks to really shine and to really say, oh, this is like busted metal. That's the whole point. As far as weathering goes, I used an army green, pretty much. Like I mixed the green and the orange together to give me that kind of dark muddy green. I put a little bit of black in there to give me some age. And what I did was, the first time I made a mistake, I didn't mix it with water, and I just started painting it, and I forgot, left it on too long, tried to wipe it off, and it did leave a mark. So that was definitely another mistake I made. So next time, if you're trying to weather stuff, make sure you mix the paint with water, in fact, so it's easier to wipe off and it doesn't just stick to the other paint, because that's what happens. But I'm really glad I went with like a army green, like a distressed color, because I personally thought going for a more rustier look wouldn't show up as well because the base is red. So I did choose the green because they are like opposite colors, like opposite colors on the primary color wheel. Like, what is that called? Complementary? It's not complementary colors. Right? I don't know. It's the opposite color, like red and green, blue and orange. Like, you understand like what I'm talking about? So I did choose the green because it was the exact opposite and it would give me that grimy, grungy effect that I was going for. But all in all, this gun was a lot of fun to make, and I'm super proud of myself for kind of diving into it even when I was uncertain about my ability to execute something like this. Um, it clearly is the most fun prop I've ever made that's normal scale. I'm definitely going to make more guns. If you are interested in this gun, if you would like to buy this gun, I have it for sale on Etsy. The gun is 3 feet long. It is 3 feet long. It is a good size prop for anybody. A full-grown man could wield this, as well as a young fair maiden of 6 years old could wield it. It is super light. Hi, hi, hi. But it's thick, it's sturdy, it won't break if the fair maiden drops it. Well, thank you for tuning in. I had a great time. I'm so glad I was able to come and talk to you guys about my rifle. I keep saying rifle. If you have any more questions, if there's something that I forgot to cover, or if you're looking to kind of start your own prop and you want some advice on where to begin, just shoot me a message here on Twitch or Instagram. I'd be more than happy to help you out. Thank you for tuning in so much. Talk to you later.